During a zombie apocalypse, two baseball friends named Mickey and Ben are forced to navigate through the forests and provinces of New England in search of provisions, defending themselves from bloodthirsty zombies along the way. However, they soon find themselves stuck in a broken car for 3 days with dwindling supplies and no way to fix the vehicle. The question remains whether they will be able to escape their predicament. The post-apocalyptic world turns out to be quite dull in reality, leaving the guys with little to do most of the time. While Ben adapted to the new reality relatively quickly by learning to kill zombies and obtain food using improvised methods, his friend Mickey is hesitant to use weapons and instead relies on music in his headphones to escape from reality. During one of their expeditions, the duo stumbles upon an abandoned car, only to be confronted by a zombie woman emerging from the driver's seat. Ben reacts promptly, shooting her in the head. Fortunate for them, the car starts immediately, allowing the guys to resume their journey. Mickey suggests stopping by his ex-girlfriend's house to scavenge for supplies. While Ben searches the house for any lurking zombies, Mickey becomes sentimental in his former lover's room, taking a new disc for his player and inhaling her scent from her clothes and perfume. Meanwhile, Ben focuses solely on practical items that could be useful for their journey and finds 2 battery-operated walkie-talkies among the belongings. To spend the night, they also take blankets and pillows from the girls' room and settle in the car. Mickey expresses his exhaustion with wandering around abandoned houses and sleeping on the streets, leading him to suggest to Ben that they stay in a house for a while. However, Ben disagrees and argues that it's unsafe to stay in one place and they must keep moving in order to increase their chances of survival. He reminds Mickey of their experience at the start of the apocalypse, where they locked themselves with his family in Mickey's house for 3 months. It was a nightmare, as food supplies quickly depleted, forcing Ben to kill the family dog to prevent starvation. In the end, zombies still managed to infiltrate the house, leaving only the 2 friends to escape amidst the chaos. After reflecting on Ben's reasoning, Mickey concedes, and they continue their journey without any final destination. While testing the range of newly found walkie-talkies, Mickey and Ben intercept a transmission from another group of survivors discussing their shopping list. Listening to the voices of others for the first time in a while, Mickey realizes that somewhere nearby, people are still living relatively normally, celebrating birthdays, watching movies, and enjoying basic necessities such as food and shelter. Mickey feels compelled to reach out and request to join their camp. Mickey's request to join the camp is met with a rude response from a male voice on the other end of the radio, who tells them there is no room for them and instructs a woman named Annie to cut off contact with the guys. Despite Ben's suggestion to forget about the interaction, Mickey persists and tries to negotiate with the strangers. However, they refuse to communicate any further, leaving Mickey frustrated and disappointed. Ben, on the other hand, takes a more practical approach and ironically comments on Mickey's romanticism, encouraging his friend to focus on survival. He suggests that Mickey should follow his example in order to stay alive. Friends arrive at an abandoned motel. Mickey decides to explore the building, but soon realizes his mistake as he finds zombies locked in one of the rooms. Ben steps in once again to protect them from the undead. Despite his friend's attempts to convince him, Mickey still refuses to learn how to kill zombies. Eventually, Mickey gets a chance to face the zombies on his own. While Mickey is asleep in the car, Ben goes for a swim. Unfortunately, he doesn't hear the zombie approaching the car. The undead tries to get inside and makes awkward attempts, causing Mickey to finally wake up. The situation scares Mickey, and he doesn't know what to do or how to defend himself. He's alone with a zombie for the first time and tries to shout for Ben to save him. After observing the corpse for some time, Mickey realizes that it doesn't understand how to get inside and can rub against the car endlessly. Mickey then has a realization that the zombie was once a pretty girl. Having spent many months without intimacy, Mickey decides to take advantage of the situation and satisfy his needs by looking at the girl. Their romantic moment is abruptly cut short by Ben, who returns to the car and shoots the zombie in the head. As they continue their journey, the tension between the friends mounts. They explore abandoned houses along the way. At one point, Mickey loses his temper and insists they spend the night at a house they come across. Ben agrees but takes Mickey's player in return, stating that using it could put their lives in danger if they don't hear zombies approaching. Ben emphasizes the importance of teamwork and helping each other survive. This prompts another outburst from Mickey, who storms out. In the room, Mickey tries once again to contact Annie. The girl finally answers Mickey's call and warns him that their conversation might lead to her exile from the survivor camp. She further explains that the camp is not what he thinks it is and advises him to abandon the idea of joining them. Although Mickey is tempted to leave Ben and join the survivors, Annie rudely sends him away again. Meanwhile, Ben lets his guard down, drinks and dances with a gun while playing music at full volume. In the middle of the night, he hears strange noises outside the house and takes a zombie hostage. Ben, deciding to teach his friend a harsh lesson in survival, places a bat next to a sleeping Mickey, releases a captive zombie into the room, and locks the door. Mickey awakens and pleads with Ben to let him out, but Ben insists that he confront the zombie with the bat. The room is filled with the sounds of Mickey's terrified screams and the thuds of the bat striking the zombie. When Ben finally opens the door, he sees Mickey panting heavily and drenched in zombie blood. Enraged, Mickey charges at his friend and attacks him. Ben is happy despite everything that happened, as Mickey was finally able to stand up for himself and kill a zombie for the first time. Mickey shares with Ben the conversation he had with Annie, where she asked him to forget about the camp. This news makes Mickey lose hope for a normal life, and he breaks down in tears. Ben tries to console him and they continue their journey, enjoying the scenic beauty around them and finding ways to entertain themselves. They go fishing together, share their life stories, play baseball with apples, and pick fruits from trees. One day they come across an empty car abandoned in the middle of the road. The resourceful Ben decides to siphon the gas out of it, but Mickey notices that the hood of the car is still warm. The guys realize that they are not alone and call out to the owner of the car. Without receiving any response, Ben proceeds to carry out his plan and is oblivious to the fact that a stranger has taken Mickey hostage at knife point. The stranger demands that Ben surrender the keys to their car, threatening to kill Mickey if he doesn't comply. Ben offers to let the stranger come along, but the stranger declines, saying that he intends to go to Arizona alone and does not need any companions. Ben attempts to reason with the stranger and questions who he is trying to escape from, pointing out that he is willing to harm an innocent person. The stranger reveals that he was promised a truck and supplies if he worked for some people all winter, but they deceived him, and now he is fleeing to avoid them. The stranger becomes furious and once again threatens to harm Mickey. To calm the stranger down, Ben lies and says that the car keys are in the ignition. The stranger agrees to let Mickey go if Ben gives him the keys, promising to throw away his gun and not to stop him from leaving. After the stranger frees Mickey, he realizes that the keys are not in the ignition but in Ben's pocket. In a panic, the stranger tries to run away, but Ben kills him, leaving Mickey in shock. The guys are in a heated argument about the act's correctness when they suddenly notice uninvited guests. A woman's voice from the car informs the friends that they have come in peace and just want to pick up an abandoned car to fill it with gasoline. Mickey sees no problem with this, while Ben remains vigilant and points a loaded gun at the stranger's car. A pretty girl and a big man with a gun in his hand step out of the car. The girl asks the guys who was driving the car, and Ben lies that the driver was bitten by a zombie and had to be killed. She orders the assistant to grab a canister instead of a gun and together they come closer to the guys. The stranger asks if the man said something about himself and where the car came from. Ben realizes that this is the same group that chased the man and pretends to be clueless. He states that the driver did not say anything unusual, but Mickey fails to grasp the perilousness of the scenario and identifies Annie, the other person on the radio. Annie shoots Ben in the leg after realizing that they have been discovered, and aims the gun at Mickey. She warns the guys not to track them to the camp, threatening to kill them if they do. Annie takes the keys from the guys and throws them into a field, allowing them to leave while the guys search for them. Mickey struggles to find the keys amid the dense grass. It begins to get dark and Ben offers to wait out this night in the car and resume the search in the morning. In the middle of the night, Mickey hears a suspicious noise. They turn on the headlights and see that a crowd of starving zombies is moving towards them. Because of the injury, Ben cannot go far, so the friends become hostages of the car. By morning, the car was surrounded on all sides by the dead. They can't get inside, so they just moan and rock the car from side to side. The guys spend hours locked up, with Mickey paralyzed with fear and Ben trying to find a way out. Ben shoots the dead, but there are too many of them. He becomes impatient and blames Mickey for the situation, saying they wouldn't be trapped if he had left Annie alone. As time passes, the friends realize their supplies of food and water won't last long. They begin to wonder who will give up first, them or the zombies. The friends decide to cover all the windows with blankets the next day in hopes of making the zombies leave if they don't see them. But the zombies are relentless and refuse to leave. To avoid going completely insane, the friends decide to get drunk and have some fun despite the hopeless situation. The next morning, they realize that they can't postpone the inevitable any longer. They need to try and retrieve the keys and escape from this nightmare. Ben asks Mickey to go outside and do whatever it takes to survive. Ben requests his friend to abandon him and flee if he cannot find the keys. Mickey assures him that he will not desert his friend. After smoking his final cigarette, Mickey climbs out through the hatch to search for the keys. For Ben, the waiting period becomes the most excruciating time of his life. He waits for his friend for what seems like an eternity. He is on the verge of losing hope when he suddenly hears a knock from above. Filled with hope, he opens the hatch and welcomes Mickey back inside. Mickey shows his bloodied hand to Ben and Ben immediately notices that something is wrong. Ben asks his friend if he managed to find the keys, but his concern grows as he realizes that Mickey has been bitten by a zombie. This is the moment when Ben loses all hope, but Mickey, in tears, begs Ben to tell him what to do. Knowing what needs to be done, Ben makes the painful decision to shoot Mickey in the head, causing him immense emotional pain. Ben spends the next few days in a state of shock and grief over the loss of his only friend. After some time, Ben contacts Annie via radio. Ben tells Annie about the trick he and Mickey used to escape from Mickey's parents' house, luring the zombies to one side of the house while they escaped from the other. He tells her that he will try to repeat the trick, and if he survives, he will find her and put a bullet in her head. He turns on Mickey's player and removes the blankets from the car windows to get the attention of the zombies. As they crowd in front of the car, he climbs out through the trunk. The story concludes with Ben walking down the road, followed closely by a pack of ravenous zombies. He is alone, without any supplies or weapons, but he has a clear objective that drives him forward to seek revenge for his best friend's death. Hope you enjoyed and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for more movie recaps.